Hello and welcome to the YouTube tutorial of this super cute Christmas gnome, just sort of floating in a snowy scene. So hopefully you are all ready to go. I'm just using the primary colors, so I'm using red, blue, and yellow and white to make this, and that is it. You do need to paint your canvas black first, and then let's go ahead and get started. Alright, hello and welcome to my YouTube channel where I'm going to do, today we're going to do a really cute little Christmas gnome that just is going to look like they're floating in a snowy sky. Super simple, anybody can do it, any level of skill. I'm going to start with a number 6 Filbert, but you can use really any brush you feel comfortable with. I'm going to start by figuring out where I want my beard to go for the gnome, which I want to be really close to the center. So I'm just going to take some white paint on my brush and I'm going to find the middle of the canvas. So find the middle, and then from the middle, I'm going to make a dot, and then below that dot, or coming from that dot and down, I'm going to make a, somewhat big circle. Just start with a circle and then paint it in. And then I'm going to make a hat on top. So the hat is going to be just like a triangle shape, but you can kind of curve it. So I'm gonna curl mine around a little bit. And then you want it to be pointier at the tip and then get wider at where it comes to the top of the beard. But notice how I curved mine down. You could do it just straight up if you wanted to, or however you want to do it. And I'm also going to color that in. And you can always make your shapes bigger or different. My hand, isn't always like steady, so sometimes my lines wiggle and I just go with it instead of struggling against it. So just go with whatever's happening from you and your expression. It's more fun that way. And I want them to have like little hands coming up. We're just really painting this whole thing with white first. And then we'll color everything in. But like right where the hat part comes to the beard right here on both sides, I'm just going to make 2 little diagonal lines that come up. They can be a little thicker at the base, like where it touches the beard, and they can get a little more narrow. And then I'm going to top it with just like some little rounded off, maybe like hands with mittens. You can put a little thumb on it if you want, like towards the inside. You don't have to. You could just do little circles. Do whatever feels funner. And then we can give them like a little, maybe pants or a shirt or something. So from under the beard, we can do like a little rectangle type shape and maybe some little circle feet. So you can kind of pull down, make some little circles and come around. Give them like a little, maybe they're wearing like a little onesie. I don't know. But now I have the shape that I want. And while that dries a little bit, we can begin to add some snow. Just choose a round brush that has a good pointy tip on it. The pointier the tip, the better. Like notice how pointy that tip is. It's like really sharp. So try to find something really pointy. If you can't find something pointy, you can use a toothpick or a shish kebab skewer or something like that. Those are helpful. And then I can just dot snow all around. Some can be big, some can be small. I recommend 3 sizes of snow. Like some dots can be small, medium, and large. Try to do variety though. You don't want it to all be the exact same. You can make like little snowflakes and stuff if you want. I might make a couple in the end depending on how the rest of the painting comes together. Sometimes I decide to keep things more simple. And then sometimes I decide to add a little more. It just depends on my mood that day and like what the goal of the painting is and how it all kind of comes together. And this is like, could be a fun little Christmas decoration. Sometimes it's fun to change the art in your house if you have the ability to do that. I'm gonna point and make the tip of my hat a little pointier now that I have this pointier brush. You can touch up like the hands and feet too if you want to, if you need to. And remember that any of the shapes you don't end up liking or you want to change, you can always paint around the edges black and reshape it. So, you know, keep that in mind. Now, this should be pretty dry. What I want to do first is I'm going to go ahead and make the nose shape. And I'm still going to use the round brush for that. So you can clean off your round brush. Make sure every time you clean your brush that you're drying it on a towel. So I just dip it in the water and then dry the whole thing on the towel, especially the handle, so you don't get any drips. Now, right where our hat came to our beard, which is like right here, right where the arms come together, I'm going to put a nose. So for my nose color, I'm just mixing red and yellow. And then a lot of white for a peach color. You can do different colors. If you want to go with a brown color rather than a peach color, you just add either black or a little bit of blue to your orange, and it will make it darker. So that's up to you. And then I'm going to put it right where my hat was kind of coming like a rainbow shape. Right on top. Just like a circle. And we'll add more layers to it. But for now, we're good with that. And then I'm going to clean my brush again. And then dry it again. So just cleaning and drying. I don't have my camera zoomed in on the my towel because that's not very eventful. You want to see the painting more than anything. So I'll keep it zoomed in on that. And then I'm going to make the hat red because it's just, you know, classic. So I'm just using mostly red, but I still want a touch of white in there, just a touch. If you do more than a touch, it'll start to turn pink, so just a touch. And then I'm going to color in the hat right above the nose. Just arc over. And then I want that to dry. So while that dries, I'm going to give the gnome a green onesie. So I'm just cleaning the brush and drying it. And then I'm going to make my green, which is going to be yellow, blue, and white. If you want this like really bright, more lime green, just use a lot of yellow and a little bit of blue. If you want to make it a little darker, just add more blue. I'm going to go for a medium green, so I'm adding a little more blue. I don't want it to be way too light. And I still want a little bit of white mixed in because we're painting on a black canvas and it's really makes your paint look a lot richer if you have green, or sorry, if you have white mixed into your green. So we're going to go and paint their outfit. And they're wearing a green onesie with green mittens. That's the decision, but you can change it to any other kind of colors that you want. It's kind of cute because then it kind of makes them look like a little baby or something. I want the hat and the little onesie to dry. While we do that, let's start getting some layers on the beard to give that some more life. Now, I like using purple as a shadow color, but you could equally use like a black and gray kind of vibe. But I just personally like using purple. I like it as a shadow. So I'm going to take blue and red. About 50-50. And notice how dark that is. It really makes a great shadow color. And then what I want to do is go right under the hat. Make a little line going across. And then I'm also going to go under the nose. Just imagine it like an outline. And it's going to be kind of rough at first. So just be okay with that. And then I'm going to do little tiny little brush strokes pulling down from that line. Notice I'm going to make it thick at the top, but then as I come down, I'm going to start to kind of spread my brush strokes out a little bit. And you're probably thinking, what the heck? That looks crazy. But yeah, it's gonna look crazy for a second. You've got to have some like shadow undertones. Otherwise, the beard will just look really flat. So we don't want that. And then you can begin to add some shading to the hat too. So let's imagine that there's like light coming like from here down. And so I can put a shadow on like this side and then under here. And then we can put a highlight here and a little bit over here. So you just have to decide where you want your light to come from and then put your shadows accordingly. I want my hat to have a shadow color, which is going to be mostly red with a little bit of blue. It'll be mostly red with a little bit of blue. And then I'm going to go, again, I want my shadow on my right side. I'm going to layer it on. Notice how it got a little darker on that side. And that's what I want to do. I'm going to pull that all the way up to the sort of the right tip of the hat just a bit. And then I'm going to alternate. It's going to go under the curl. Just a bit. Now, if your paint is sloshing around too much, I just recommend waiting for it to dry or using a blow dryer to speed up the process. And then I'm just cleaning my brush in between. And then I want my highlight to be on the right. So my highlight's going to be more of a pink color. Just add more white to your red after you clean your brush from your shadow. So make sure you don't have your shadow on there. I want my highlight to be like here on this side. Maybe a little bit along the brim. And then or right on the top. I do a little more white. So the highlights just go on the opposite side of the shadow. And I'm going to build that, so it's going to get better looking, I promise. The colors will get so much richer. I might have to blow dry my my colors because they're kind of sloshing around. But it's okay. I know that it's going to be okay, so I'm not worried about it. But I can take this. I actually want to put this like shadow color a little bit more. So you can go back and forth between your shadows and your highlights. I want to put that burgundy, like where it's mostly red, with a little bit of blue that we did on the right side of the hat. I want to put that at the base of the hat, going all the way across. And it's mixing with my white a little bit. So I'm going to blow dry mine. But you can do whatever you want depending on what's happening on your canvas. All right, it's gonna be a lot easier to work with it now. I just didn't have very much leverage with the paint because it was sloshing around. So sometimes you just gotta either wait or blow dry it. So you just gotta know when to call it quits and do that. But then I can add another coat of red. And this is gonna help soften the shadow. Like you'll still see the shadow, but it's gonna be softer because you're putting some pure red around it. I'm gonna redo my highlights, but I wanna soften those shadows. They looked kind of crazy because the paint was not sticking as good as I wanted. And it depends on the day too. Like, is it hot where you live? Is it dry? Is it, the weather really impacts. So there, now I'm like a lot happier with the color. It was getting weird. And I can go in and just add a little more shadow if need be. And then you can also add your highlight again, which is more of like a pink color. So, give it a little love and remember that if your paint isn't doing what you want, a lot of times you just need it to be drier. So instead of getting frustrated, dry your painting. You're going to be a lot happier with the outcome. Takes a little bit of patience. And I want to put this highlight along the top here just a little bit. So see how you can kind of play with your color and you can go back and forth between more of a pure red and either your darker light colors. So you want to be able to visibly see at least 3 shades in your outcome. Same thing goes for your other elements. So with the nose, for example, I would want to make sure that I could see a little bit of a darker shade of my peach color. And that can mean that I make more of a brown color by adding a little bit of blue into it to give it more of a brownish color. So it makes it darker looking. And I want that to go on the underside of the nose. So there's my shadow there. Maybe a little bit of a shadow towards the top of the nose too, because that's going right under the hat. And then you can go back to your light peach color again and add another layer. So now all I'm doing is just have my shapes. I'm just building now upon those shapes by making sure each shape and each color scheme in that shape has at least 3 shades. So now I'm just back to the peach color, which is just the yellow, red, and a lot of white. And I can go over the shadow a little bit if it got too crazy, just like I did on the hat. And I could also go back and forth, or sometimes I'll mix my shadow and my highlight together. So see if I take this dark color, mix it into this light color, then I have a 3rd shade, and then that can go in between where your shadow and your highlight come together. You want to see at least 3 shades. And then you can even top it with like a little white dab. I can even just use a little bit of pure white on the hat, right where the highlights go at the very tip, where the pink is, just to give it a little punch. So you want to make sure you're giving everything a punch. And then I'm going to go back into my little outfit. So clean your brush, and then let's make a darker shade of green by adding more of just yellow with a or mostly blue with just a little bit of yellow. And you can even add a little bit of red into it to make it more earthy. It's going to make it darker. So when you mix all 3 of your primaries together, you're getting more earthy, darker colors, but not too much. And then this can go like on the underside of the little PJ outfit, the underside of the arms, and the mittens. So you want to see more than 1 shade. And I can give a 3rd shade too, where I just take maybe a little bit of extra yellow and maybe even a little white mixed in to my medium color. So see how I'm creating these colors next to each other so that I can check on my palette. This is where my first shade is. This is where I'm creating my lighter shade. My darker shade is over there, but it's visibly darker. If you need to do it right next to each other though, that's always helpful. And then just do some highlights on the opposite side. Or really anywhere, which is totally fine. So now I'm just going to the top of the arms and the hands and giving them like a little bit of funness. It doesn't look too flat. And then let's go back into our purple again for our shadow on our beard, which is just red and blue. And then we're really going to pull the beard together and then do some finishing touches. But we're almost done. I know it seems far from it because it looks so bad when the beard's not done. But I want this to get really dark under the hat. And then pull down again. You can even pull some of the shadow down above on the clothes. And then I'm going to clean my brush. Before this has a chance to dry, I'm going to get my pure white and start pulling down with that. And I want it to blend with some of my shadow colors, so you're going to start to see that blend together a little bit. And right now I know their beard looks kind of blue, but I'm working on it. So notice how though you can see that shadow and then you see some of that blue. And then as you pull down into the thick of the beard, let your brush strokes, your paint be really thick. Get a bunch of, like, notice how I'm really scooping the white on there. Get a bunch and really pile it on. And let it pull down over the little outfit. Really fluff this thing out. Can kind of curl it down. I can kind of pull it out. I want to get crazy with it. I'm just adding a lot. I'm letting that beard get really, really fun. But we don't want to lose our shadow too much. So then we can always come back and add it back, pulling from the top down. So make sure you don't lose it all the way. And again, it's like purple and blue. And notice how when I pull it back, you get a little more depth back. You don't want it to be like solid white. You want it to have some color in it. I'm gonna kind of put this, and you can even just do blue and white to give it more of a vibrant color blue. If you want to put some of that in the beard to see a little bit of a different shade going on, that could look cool. And then I'm gonna let that dry a little bit while I add more snow. So clean and dry the brush, and then come back to just the white on the tip. You can add more snow in the background if that feels fun. And then you definitely want to have some snow falling on the hat, on top of the hat. Don't forget to make sure there's a little highlight on the nose. It can be falling on the mittens. But notice I'm putting it all over them so that it looks like they're in the snow. It's very fun. And then one last little touch to the beard where I really let the white be thick. This really lets it come to life. So scoop it on there. Yeah, you can go more crazy with this, but I'm keeping it so simple today. One last little idea that you can, just double check is, that you can use the black around the edges to make things look more cleaned up. Like maybe you got things where you didn't want them. And you can also put a little bit of a shadow under the beard on the outfit. So I'm doing that dark green, and then I can go under the beard and just make sure that the under part of those little beard pulls has a little bit of a shadow. See how it pulled it forward and you can see the beard a little bit more now? So just check things like that. You want to check your highlights, check your shadows, and then make sure you have lots and lots of snow and layer as much as you want and just keep having fun. But I'm gonna call mine done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had fun. I hope your gnome is super cute. I'm very happy with mine. And go ahead and share. You can definitely hit like and subscribe. That helps the channel, and hopefully have fun painting, and hopefully have a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.